Hello everyone, hope you guys are doing well and welcome back to this third and final tutorial of project and process management for digital agencies. In our last tutorial, I have shown you how you can implement a project into ClickUp. So I have shown you one example and today I am going to show you one real life example. Okay, so let's get started. So here you can see I have one workflow. So as I described in our first tutorial, that is every company have one SOP, how they manage the projects. So this is you can say on SOP, or this is the same thing as simplifying the hierarchy or deconstructing the projects, right? You have to break it down the projects into the high level, task level, and the subtask level. So this is a LTS workflow. They basically the outbound agency. So they basically run outbound campaign for different companies. So here we have, you can see here we have break it down like list. So we have list means high level. So we have 5 high level tasks here. You can see list one, then two, then three, then four, then here we have five. So these are the high level tasks, right? So every high level task, we break it down into the task level, and every task has, the multiple subtasks. So whenever you are managing a project in ClickUp, so one thing you can do, that is you can break down the projects and you can add it to in your ClickUp. For example, here you can see I have created a space that is LTS internal here, and this LTS internal, I have added LTS workflow internal, right? So this is a LTS workflow, like how they manage the project, or this is, you can say, this is an SOP. So I have break it down the SOP in a way so that we can implement into the ClickUp. So no matter if you use ClickUp or Asana or Trello, so if you break it down like this way, the SOP or the workflow, if you break it down like this way, you can manage the projects. You can, the organize the project in any tools. It doesn't matter if you use ClickUp or Asana. So let me show you. So this is how I break it down. I have added into the ClickUp as well, so that whenever you have team members, like you have another project manager in your team, or there are other guys who might go through how, if your team member wants to see, okay, in this particular task how many subtasks we have, right? So this will be helpful for your team member as well. So whenever you break it down the workflow, you can add it into you can create one space, right? So into the internal space, you can add like all the workflow here. So this is the one real life example. So you can see how they manage their outbound campaign. So the first is basically the after the sale. This is the post sale and admin task. For example, sending the contract, generating the invoice, sending the welcome asset packets, right? Creating the internal workspace for that particular client. And the next step is basically creating the email structure. If you guys work in any outbound campaign agencies, you know what does it mean by the email infrastructure. So in these email infrastructures, we have like retrieving the data from the clients, like their ICPs, right? So, and we have to procure the domains, prepare the domain list, ordering the inbox, monitor, and set up warm up. And the third step is basically a strategy and assets. So whenever the email infrastructure is done, the next step basically we do all the assets we normally create, right? The like that they are you can say their case studies. At the same time, we create the copy, right? So this we normally call the assets. Then we have approval and the final preparation. So whenever everything is prepared, right? So we send it to the client to check, right? All the copies and the assets are it's aligned with their visions or not. Then finally, that is basically the go live. That means like we start the campaign. So, so let me show you how I implemented into the ClickUp. So there is one space. This is all the clients here. For example, for as I shown in our last video, for each client, you can create one particular folder. So under the folder, so here we have like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? So we have 5 lists here. List means the high level. So every high level should be into the list. And if you go to the under the list, you can check here, right? List. Okay. So these are the tasks. this particular list has 4 tasks. So under each task, you can see the subtask as well, right? All the subtasks here. So here you can, like as I shown in our last video, you can assign someone, you can add a due date, you can add priority. If you want to check a status, you can add a status, right? So work status as well. So this is pretty simple, right? This is a one like real life, the real life projects or real life example. So how we are managing the projects in ClickUp. So every high level task would be in the list. So this is the second high level task, this is email infrastructure. So here we have, right, you can see here we have 5 tasks, and under each task we have a subtask as well, right? So regarding the status, whenever this is ready for review, right? When you change the this is in backlog. So if it's like planning in progress, ready for review, or the completed, for example, it's ready for review, it would be like this way. So this is how this is a pretty simple, like the one I have shown in our last tutorial. But I want to show you, like, give you more confidence regarding managing a project into the ClickUp, Asana, or Trello. So I'm showing you one real life example. So the first thing you have to remember, whenever you have a project or you are going to manage a project, you have to do fasting. That is, you have to deconstruct the project. Deconstructing means you have to simplify the hierarchy. So you have to, how you're going to simplify the hierarchy, I have shown in our past tutorial. So first you have to ask them, like, do they have SOP? If they don't have SOP, you have to build the SOP. So once you build the SOP, keep in mind that you are going to break down the SOP into like high level, task level, and the subtask level. And later on, you can add, so here you can create another workspace, that is a space level. You can create another space, that is you can create like internal, for the internal. So all the SOP you can add it here, right? So if you so what's the point like adding the internal SOP here? That means every team member, like whenever if you might have another project manager or new team member coming in, so that you can assign them, like, okay, go through the internal SOP and check how we manage the project. So that would also like one of the core aspect of a project management in ClickUp, Asana, or Trello. So everything related to the team, SOP, or workflow, you need to add it into the ClickUp as well. So now we are going to show you like how we can manage the same thing into the Asana. So let's go to the Asana. So I have created one account here in Asana. So it's pretty much simple. So here you can see, here we have, here is it's similar, it's pretty similar to ClickUp as I described in our first tutorial. Like every single project management tool built on the same principle, that is, you have to break down the workflow, simplify the hierarchy, then into the high level, task level, subtask level, and nested subtask. So this is the the core principle of every project management tool. So here what you can do, so let me show you the hierarchy of Asana here. So it's same. So portfolios, you have project, tasks, subtasks. So portfolios is basically the team level, right? So here this is the space, and portfolios are the same thing. So here they call it portfolios, here they call it a space. So you have a marketing team, you have a development team. So you have a, for example, you have a two in your company, you have two teams. One is basically, you can say, a development team, one is a marketing team. Then you create a two portfolio. One is for development team, another one is for marketing team. Then the projects is basically the list, right? And under the list it would be like a task and a subtask. So as you can see, the hierarchy in ClickUp and Asana is the same thing. So only difference between the ClickUp, Asana, or Trello is the naming convention. So in ClickUp they call it a space, in Asana they call it portfolios, in ClickUp they call it list, and in Asana they call it projects. And task, subtask, nested subtasks, so it's the similar. And Asana, task, subtask, and there you can create more nested subtasks. So one thing is clear, that is every project management tool built on simplifying the hierarchy. So it's a high level task, then task, then subtask, then nested subtask. So whenever you have a project to manage in any particular digital agency, so you need to do one thing, that is you have to break down the projects into the high level, task level, and subtask level. So no matter which tool you are going to use, if you break down your projects into high level, task level, and subtask level, so you can implement it in any particular, the project management tool. So you can Google it, something like the hierarchy of that particular project management tool, then you can implement it easily. So let me go through Asana and show you how you can do it in Asana as well, so that you can have a clear idea, like ClickUp and Asana, yeah, like breaking down the projects into the high level, task level, and the subtask level. So here we have work. So here you can see the plus icon. Here you can create, for example, we have two teams. So for the team, we are going to create portfolios. So portfolio is the same as a space level. So new portfolio, we are going to create, like we have a marketing team here. Continue. Okay, then we have a development team, maybe, right? So we are going to create another portfolio that will be, we can call development team. Okay, continue. Okay, done. So in portfolio level, we have created our two team. So if you have more than, two team, or like if you can have a design team. So for each team, you are going to create each portfolio. So under the portfolio, you are going to create projects. So how many projects, for example, in marketing team, you might have 10, 15, 20, 30. So no matter how many projects you have, so you can keep it under the marketing team, under the portfolio in Asana. So I'm going to create one project. So I'm going to create a blank project here. So it could be SuccessGenX. So I have one client. Its name is SuccessGenX. Continue. And here you can, if you want to add calendar, maybe workload, if you can note files. Okay. So no matter like how many options you need, you can customize it from here. You can do it later as well. So I have created one project here. So let me show you how you can add task or subtask. So I'm going to create one add task here. That we call it client onboarding. Okay, so client onboarding done, and you can add assignee here. For example, I'm assigning, so you can add due date. So if you want to add like more view here, like people, date, or if you time tracking, for example, I need to track this particular task, you can add a time tracking here as well, and you can add it manually, or you can add it as start timer here, right? It can automatically, you can do that, or you can add the manually as well. So this is a task, right? So here I'm going to create subtask, right? So here, if you go in the here, you can see the more details here. So I'm going to add one plus subtask here, and that could be client meeting, right? So here you can see. So if you here you can see as well. So you have a subtask. So if you want to create a nested subtask, so this is a subtask. So I'm going to create a nested subtask here. So you can name it like client reschedule, or you can call it rescheduling the meeting. Okay, done. So if you go here now, you can check like, okay, you have one nested subtask here, right? So this is a nested subtask. So this is the pretty much like as same as ClickUp. You are going to add portfolios. So under the portfolios, you are going to create projects, no matter how many projects you have. Under the projects, you are going to add tasks and subtask, and you are going to assign, and that's how you are going to manage. You are going to implement your projects into the ClickUp or Asana, right? So here I'm going to show you like few other options, and this is like you can explore, and depends on your the company, how they work. So depends on that, you can customize the view. So you can go to the board view, you can go to the timeline, you can see as a dashboard level. So this is a dashboard in Asana, where you can see all projects like how they are, what's the progress of the, how, if you maybe you have 10 projects, so what's the progress of the all projects under the each portfolio, like under the marketing team. So this is a high level view you can see. So if you go to the overview, from the overview you can track your status as well. right? You can on track, at risk, off track, so that you can share your team member. So far, I have shown you how you can implement the projects in Asana and ClickUp. So it's the same thing. Whatever, like if you use Trello or Jira, so it's the same thing. So it doesn't matter which tool you are going to use, but if you know, if you master in simplifying the hierarchy of the projects, like deconstructing the projects, you can be master in any project management tool. So apart from that, there are a few other options like in every project management tool there is option for automation. There you can do workflow. You can have like different view. So it's basically depends on the company, right? So how the company works and how they manage their projects. It depends on your company. So you can explore the projects more on. Like, depends on like there are thousands of automations in Asana or ClickUp. So in some companies they use two, three automations. That's it. So you don't need to learn all the automations and everything. So if you learn one or two, three, like most important automations or the workflow in Asana, automations in ClickUp, that's enough. So depends on the company to because it's company to company vary. So there it's like if like a normal SMB company, they don't use more than 5 or 10 automation. So if you go and explore ClickUp and Asana, then you can easily learn that. But the core important thing, what I have discussed so far in this tutorial, that is the main important task of a project manager. That is, whenever you have a project, you are going to manage a project, because I'm reiterating this one more time. That is, you have to break down the projects into uh, three distinct layers. That is the high level, task level, and the sub task level. So once you master into this, like managing the projects into high level, task level, and sub task level, that's your 50 to 60% project management in a particular digital agency. It's done. So other than that, rest of them, it depends on the company needs and depends how you want to organize your team members. So that depends on your team. Apart from that, uh, everything you need as a project manager, I have discussed in this tutorial. So apart from that, what you have to learn, that is, you have to explore the tools, you have to learn some automations, and you have to implement some projects that you can do and you can explore. And that's it so far. I think this is enough. The enough informations you need to manage a project in a digital agency. Thank you for watching.